Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without authorization of the copyright holder. This infringement of copyright is called fair use and is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody. Satanic Illuminati news is an example of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody. Considered taking the day off today, being Sunday, but it started to bother me, like I needed to do it, so I just figured I would do something different by taking a look at a self-proclaimed partisan news feed. There are lots of self-proclaimed partisan news feeds out there. This one happens to be one that's on the left, obviously, the Daily Beast, as it's known. We're going to peruse the headlines and see how they differ in their intent from those of the so-called objective mainstream media. This is Divide and Conquer, of course. It's also meant to instill fear in you of the coming changes in America and the world because of new digital technology, which they have symbolized here as the coding and the eagle. The people bringing about this technology want you, they don't want everyone, they want a portion of the population to fear it. If 100% of the population accepts it, or 100% of the population rejects it, it gives them no power to engineer our culture and our society by manipulating your opinion. They need an argument happening. They need conspiracy theorists to exist. It's the blue to the red. It's the opposite. It's the Hegelian dialectic. Once again, you need two sides to an argument if you're going to manipulate the argument. Now, most people probably who click on this website are against Donald Trump and identify themselves as so-called leftists. We have to look at that with that in mind. So, what does a leftist take from this? They hate Trump, of course. He's actually damaged democracy. Guess what? We're not a democracy. Not only that, but Silicon Valley, high tech, is going to finish it off. Hate Trump and be afraid. Hate Trump and be afraid. Hate Trump and be afraid. Sorry about that. Oh, the Video Music Awards are tonight. I don't want to click on this. You don't need me to point out the Satan here, do you? I don't think so. Well, there you go, folks. Trump's not a right-winger. Trump's not a conservative. Trump's not a moron. Trump's not a divisive figure. Trump's not a symptom of a disease of mind control in our nation. No, he is simply a fascist. No other word may apply. If you don't believe me, there it is right there. The swastika. Oh, check it out. 12 amateur spies paved the way to war against the Nazis. I didn't know you could be an amateur spy. I want to be one. Divide and conquer with a slant. Divide and conquer with a slant. Sorry, folks, this is only a Category 3 hurricane. Fearmongering's probably going to work for everyone who's actually not there. But if you've lived in the South, near the Gulf, at any time in your life, you'll know that flooding is a part of life. Sorry. catastrophic doesn't work. Now, some of you might ask yourself how it is I can possibly constantly point out the effects of Planet X as it approaches, and yet say that talking about this hurricane is fear-mongering. Well, that's because it is. You see, ironically, I guess, it's my opinion that one of the effects of Planet X's arrival is calming of hurricanes. I mean, that's exactly what's happening. Look at the statistics. We have had less hurricanes and less strong hurricanes in our recent past. Now, of course, if you watch the television, you would think just the opposite because of the psyops of Katrina and Sandy, and now this constant hyping of the dangers of every hurricane that seems to approach. Oh, and by the way, you should really check out the satellite video of how this hurricane formed. That's all I'm going to say. Ask yourself, is this the way I remember every hurricane approaching from the southeast? No, this one just popped into existence in the middle of the Gulf. Don't believe me? Look at the satellite feed. Are people still giving this guy a hard time? What did he do? My God, has anyone been ridiculed and cast aside with the strength and conviction that Jerry Lewis has? He is simply a demon, you are meant to think. I wonder why. I wonder what he did. He did something in those satanic elite circles to piss somebody off, I guarantee. He's being humiliated. He has been ritually humiliated for decades. Okay, I guess that is the she referred to in the headline, but I couldn't really tell from looking, but I'm not making fun. Probably couldn't tell from looking at me whether I was sane or crazy. But she wants to replace Confederate statues with black heroes. Okay, that's fine. We should have lots and lots of statues of black heroes. I'm all for that. And once we put them up, we should never take them down. What is the purpose of a statue after all? Don't we even call them memorials? Memory, remember? If you need me to point out the importance of remembering our history, you're a fucking idiot. Okay, I read the Paul Ryan quote. Here it is right here. Law enforcement officials have a special responsibility to respect the rights of everyone in the United States. Interesting. I thought law enforcement officials had a responsibility to enforce the law. Oh my God. Oh, they're not really remaking Annie Hall. That's just a headline, right? You can't remake a Woody Allen movie, can you? What's the point? Dare I? Okay, now let me just take a moment and talk about this in modern art. Modern art in general. Now, I have said before, let me repeat, I'm not a Christian. I'm actually not a theist. I am an atheist. I don't believe in a higher power. It's not pride. I don't believe that I have any special high power, even over myself. I don't believe that I have so-called control. I just don't believe in a deity. Let me make that clear. I don't believe in a deity. But I can recognize this piece of art as being anti-God, anti-Christ, and satanic. How? Let me explain. Modern art movement has basically been, you could paraphrase it or sum it up this way, moving the subject of art away from nature and towards mind. Speaking of Woody Allen, there's a great scene in which he meets his best friend out with his girlfriend, I guess you would say, the woman he's cheating on his wife with, and they're at an art museum, and they describe an exhibit as the steel cube. And the woman, who's a pseudo-intellectual, goes on and on about how brilliant it was. The steel cube, wholly integrated, great negative space, blah, blah, blah. Well, as we all know, the cube is a symbol of Satanism. Has been for thousands of years. And it is also, you have to ask yourself, why is the cube a symbol of Satanism? Well, it's the most unnatural shape. It is the shape that defies nature. You can actually find circles easily in nature. Just watch a pebble hit a calm piece of water. You can find triangles all the time in nature in the way things fall and land and stay. But you never, ever, ever find a cube. Only from the mind of man comes the cube. And that's the key. Only from the mind of man comes the representation of whatever this is supposed to be. That's the satanic element. Remember what Satan promised Eve in the Garden of Eden? I'll open your eyes. You'll be like a god. Well, isn't the main thing that a god does is create? When God created the world, he didn't look around him for ideas. He created from his, I guess you would have to say, mind. Modern art is meant to separate man from nature and is therefore satanic in effect, regardless of its intention or the intellectual rationale. Stolen in the dead of night, huh? Bullshit. And who cares about the story? I certainly don't. Oh, Jesus. There was a story yesterday about Italy and how the once welcoming Italy was no longer welcoming the needy immigrants pouring across their border. We'll be in the same boat very, very soon. And this is telling you explicitly to get ready. So, listen up. They know what's happening. They're telling you. So listen. Divide and conquer. Divide and conquer. Oh my God, they're going to let the criminals go. This is such a horrible hurricane. Ah! Can you believe that? Divide and conquer. Excuse me. Divide and conquer. Oh my God. Can you believe this guy had the nerve to be gay and to bash gays at the same time? He must have been a self-hating gay and a hypocrite. No. He was in the closet. If you're in the closet and you're gay, come on out. No one cares. Believe me, no one cares. And if you're gay and you're part of this SJW transgender, gender fluid movement, you need to wake up and take a look around. You're being manipulated and controlled by controllers who want to bring an end to reproduction on our planet. That's their only goal. They don't give a fuck about who you are or your rights. They want babies to stop being born. Or they only want babies born for Satan. Now, I know that sounds crazy if you're a social justice warrior fighting the evil bad man Trump, but I'm afraid that it's true. So you people put down your clubs, take off your masks, put on something besides black, and do a little homework. Fearmongering. How many soldiers have to die from crashes of planes and helicopters and ships and tankers and whatever? How many soldiers have to die from faulty electronics before people start to ask, what the hell's going on? You can't tell me that all that stuff that our military is using is faulty. I'm sorry, but I don't believe it. What's going on? I know what's going on. GMO, 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 eat your poison every day, drink your poison every day, here's some poison for you. You know that blue and gold are the Illuminati shield colors for Freemasonry? Those are the colors they put up when they're protecting what they just did. They want to protect it. After election night, when Hillary wore purple, red and blue combined, problem, reaction, solution. All the network news feeds changed. The very next day, I pointed out to my wife, I couldn't believe it. It was so surprising. They went from red and blue color coding to blue and gold. I was like, whoa, what's going on with the blue and gold everywhere? All of a sudden, I looked it up, and yeah, of course, it is the Freemasonic shield to protect the incredible deception they just pulled off. Crazy, huh? Did you know that Adolf Hitler's eyes are blue now? That's funny, huh? I remember always talking about the incredible irony that Adolf Hitler would expound a blonde-haired, blue-eyed Aryan race when he himself had brown hair and brown eyes. Well, guess what? Hitler never had brown eyes. He never had brown eyes. Sorry, but he never had brown eyes. He always had blue. Look it up. Oh my goodness, the flooding is... I just have to take a moment to make an aside to all of my friends who watch things like Game of Thrones or Westworld or those shows. I've watched them. I've tried to watch them. Got my free trial of HBO and tuned them in, and guess what? They're shit. They're great steaming piles of shit. You're brainwashed. This isn't good fiction, good entertainment. I can't even suspend my disbelief for 5 minutes into this shit before it starts crashing in on me, and I'm like, oh my god, this is shit, this is crap, this sucks bad. Yet, people whose opinion I actually respect say, oh yeah, it's great. It's a great bit in the movie My Dinner with Andre about it. If you haven't seen that movie, you should. It's really good. I don't talk about symbology, satanic symbology in headlines and whatnot. There are lots and lots of other truthers out there who do that much, much better than I. But I would urge you to keep your eyes open for a few things. I would urge you to keep your eyes open for the inverted pentagram, which you will actually see quite a lot because it's an important symbol to them. There it is behind that little X. I don't know if you can see it or not. There it is. Also look out for Saturn symbology. Saturn symbology is any symbology that has swishes or loops or looks like it might be in orbit. You will see it everywhere, of course. I mean, on every product. Don't believe me? Just look around. Another thing are the hand gestures. A-OK and I love you in sign language are so-called rock and roll. Those are ancient symbols of Satan worship, Luciferianism. The A-OK sign is actually the 6 and the 6 and the 6, actually pointing up. Both hand gestures that Trump does all the time. pointing up with the index finger, with the thumb touching the middle finger, and the A-OK sign. If you look at your hands and you're doing it, you can clearly see the outline of the 3 6s for both of those gestures. That's what they mean. It's not something new. It's not a conspiracy theory. I'm telling you that that's what they have meant for thousands of years. So, look out for it. The I love you sign in sign language is an ancient symbol for devil horns, been around since the days when tarot cards were first invented and used, so look it up. And of course there is the as above, so below. Anytime you see something in front of a reflecting pool, or you see that special effect they do where it's like someone's sitting in front of a flat mirror, anytime you see the symmetry at the horizon line with the top and the bottom being mirror images, that's a signal. It means, as above, so below. Now, what does that saying mean? When I first heard it, I thought it sounded Christian, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. I think that's what it's meant to sound like, of course. Satanic conspiracy theorists, not conspiracy theorists who are satanic, but conspiracy theorists who look into satanic behavior, say that it means as in hell, so on earth, and has the opposite meaning, as above, so below, which actually fits the as above, so below paradigm, so it makes sense to me. And if you look at the symbology in mainstream media, you see it so much that it's just overpowering. So, inverted pentagram, 666, I love you in sign language. As above, so below. And anytime you see an eye or a pyramid, they're just laughing at you, okay? Anytime you see a big old one eye or a big old pyramid, they're just laughing at you. Don't forget that.